Come, let us explore using meditation to stop forcing love and finally feel it. I'm forever grateful to both Prahe Vajra, whom the Tibetans refer to as Garab Dorje, as well as the late Tukul Tandap, who both insisted that the highest love is the spontaneous and uncontrived byproduct of simply sitting and breathing and watching and resting. You see, the more we, and there's a great irony involved here, the more we actively focus and actively analyze, the more we so exhaust our medial and dorsolateral prefrontal cortices that we trigger our amygdala, the seat of both anxiety and aggression, which is lame. That's the opposite of what we hope to get from meditation. Fortunately, when we begin to passively cooperate with the sympathetic facet as well as the parasympathetic facet of our autonomic nervous system, not only does doing so calm the anxiety and aggression of our amygdala, but it also gently stimulates our anterior cingulate gyrus, which functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy. Empathy, of course, being the root of both compassion as well as love. It is cooperating with our autonomic nervous system that is key from switching from our, one moment, I want to switch to something here, please bear with me. Please bear with me. Let's hit copy. Let's go back over here. Okay. And I'm going to hit paste. All right. When the competition and cruelty of our survival-oriented, amygdala and dopamine-oriented reward systems become our North Star, that by which we navigate life's twists and turns, the puppet master of our choices and utterances and deeds, life can become, in the words of Thomas Hobbes, nasty, brutish, and short. However, when authentically training in mindfulness and meditation once every 12 hours or so, we stimulate our empathetic anterior cingulate gyrus, as well as our cooperative oxytocin-oriented reward system in a manner that is distinctly fulfilling. This, as we love life and life to the full. So let's break it down. The Buddha in the Satipatthana Sutta, as well as the Anapanasati Sutta, the Buddha described the 4 bases of mindfulness. Our experience of the mental, the interpersonal, the physical, and the circumstantial. So important is bringing the 4 bases of mindfulness into the path of love that it occupies 50% of the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path whose mastery is enlightenment. simply by sitting and breathing and watching and resting. We cannot help but practice kind intention, which turns out to be, according to Karma Chakme Rinpoche, the essence of the Bodhisattva vows, the key to leaping over jealousy's obstruction to omniscience. Simply by sitting and breathing and watching and resting as little as once every 12 hours or so, we cannot help but communicate with greater kindness. Simply by sitting and breathing and watching and resting as little as once every 12 hours or so, we cannot help but practice the non-violence of kind contact, which is the essence, according to Karma Chakme, of the Praktimoksha vows. Simply by sitting and breathing and watching and resting as little as once every 12 hours or so, we cannot help but practice kind commerce, wherein we replace the cruelty and competition of our amygdala and our dopamine-oriented reward system with the kindness and cooperation of our anterior cingulate gyrus and our oxytocin-oriented reward system. So here's something really important to consider. Our impulses are a wonderful litmus test. If the more we sit in so-called meditation, the more anxious and cranky we become, then that's a strong hint that we're probably not practicing mindfulness and meditation. We're probably practicing focus and analysis, ignoring our autonomic nervous system and obsessing with the prefrontal cortex. However, when we find ourselves progressively kinder in intention, communication, conduct, and commerce, that's a strong hint that's a strong indication that we're making significant progress with our mindfulness and our meditation. So I think, yes, here it is. I was looking for my, what's it called? That which functions as my side monitor. I forgot it because I've changed my setup and a little discombobulated. All right. This is the Dzogchen Semde Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For multiple decades, I spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that you wouldn't have to. It is Yoda early Monday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. So, someone has joined us. Tell me your name.
My name is 1234567.
Okay, one. And through the magic of charisma, I have chased her away. Fabulous. Let's continue. let's see here. Okay. Hmm. All right. Let us begin by with the basic definition of a repetition. A repetition consists of one inhalation and one exhalation. Every time we passively notice air enter our nostrils, we silently and mentally recite the verb watch. Doing so is the essence of mindfulness. Every time we passively notice air exit our nostrils, we silently and mentally recite the verb rest. Doing so functions as the essence of meditation. I'd like to introduce you to the Pasadimudra, also known as the meditation gesture. It's quite useful at gently inviting our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce at the crown of our head. It's very useful at night when we're lying in bed with the intention of falling asleep. It's very useful when inevitably death comes for us, that we might transition peacefully. And it's remarkably useful to keep track of our first solitary repetition of watching and resting. Assuming this gesture is as simple as using the tip of our left index finger to support the lower knuckle of our right index finger, palms up in our lap. How are we going to keep track of our next repetition or of our next set of a dozen repetitions? Simple. We bring our attention to our right hand. Every time we silently and mentally recite the verb watch during our inhalation, we advance our right thumb across our fingers, beginning with the right little finger's lower set of creases and continuing to the right index finger's higher set of creases. Together, let us practice right now. To keep track of our next solitary repetition, we touch the tip of our left thumb to the lower set of creases of our left little finger. We now count an additional dozen repetitions on our right hand. To keep track of our next solitary repetition, we advance our left thumb to the next set of creases. And now that you get the basic idea of how we can count 13 sets of solitary repetitions, as well as 13 sets of a dozen repetitions each, let us rest our hands palms up in our lap. Having completed our first collection of 13 solitary repetitions as well as a dozen repetitions each, I'd like to take a deeper look at our opening lesson. So I'm going to tap button 2. So Sturgeon's law reminds us, well, I guess it would be useful if I actually reached for a visual aid, so please bear with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. There we go. Copy. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. So paste, and let's do the old cut and paste, because why not? Okay, thank you for your patience, and here we go. Many years ago, Sturgeon's law explained how 90% of everything is rubbish. What does that 90% look like? It looks like Yang's religious or irreligious patriarchy, wherein conditions induce us to indulge our rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel tendencies. When we are profoundly rigid and profoundly controlling, passively noticing and viscerally relaxing seem absurd, and actively focusing and actively analyzing and over-reliance upon our medial and dorsolateral prefrontal cortices seems like the only thing to do. When a portion of these caught up in Yang's patriarchy exercise enough self-awareness to notice that they are increasing their anxiety and aggression, some might also try to do that. Some might also try to remedy that. But because they're so stuck in rigidity, in their rigid and controlling tendencies, the only thing they can think to do is concentrate on love or analyze the benefits of love and the detriments of hate or selfishness. And even though that might seem reasonable on paper, it's still overworking our medial prefrontal cortex and our dorsolateral prefrontal cortex to the point of further triggering our amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression. And so we can see that the dark irony is, even if we focus and analyze with the purest of motivations, it's still going to make us anxious and cranky. I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it in the lives of my fellow meditators. The only way out is for us to take a relaxing break once every 12 hours or so. Take a relaxing break from the exhausting habit of actively competing against our own autonomic nervous system, and instead cooperate with it. So let me remind you of what that looks like. And I'm going to go over here real quick. Let's hit button 4. every time we exhale, we are already wired to automatically access both the tippy top and the very bottom of our spinal cords. These two regions, working as a team, function as a core of the parasympathetic aspect of our autonomic nervous system, which has evolved to help us to physically relax and mentally release during our exhalation to such a degree that that which we watched during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, less defining, less like ourself, less like our identity, and as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Both no self and emptiness are figures of speech, and a figure of speech is only as useful as it is relatable. Therefore, we must ask, what? What is a real-world example of a non-graspable, vast, empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although could look tantalizing to the eye, feels non-graspable to the hand? So in an effort to gather our second collection of 13 sets of 13 inhalations, let us make a subtle adjustment to our Pasadi Mudra and slide the tip of our left index finger across the back of our right index finger from its lower knuckle to its middle knuckle. Now remember, the moment you have a specific question about the philosophies or techniques that support meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions about once every 14 minutes or so. Let us shift gears. From teal lettering, from white lettering to teal lettering, from watching to feeling. As we passively notice our chest swell with breath, may we silently and mentally recite the verb feel. And as we passively notice our chest subtly sink as gently we exhale, may we silently and mentally recite the verb rest. To help with this, I recommend switching from the Pasadi Mudra to the Sati Mudra, which also helps to gently invite our real or imagined settled energies to coalesce in our chest. Doing so is as simple as using the tip of our left middle finger to support the lower knuckle of our right middle finger, palms up in our lap. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. For Meditate Like a Jedi is made possible thanks to the generosity of viewers just like you. In approximately 10 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's dusk practice of Meditate Like a Jedi. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.